In this video we're going to find dy by dx of each of these. So press pause and have a go. Okay, so to do this, let's tackle the first one. So we would natural log equally to both sides. So that will then give us this: x natural log of y equals y natural log of x. So when you natural log this, the y is able to come down. When you natural log this side, the x is able to come down, giving you this. So now you've got one block multiplying another block. Well, here this is a variable, this is a variable, so you've got to use the product rule. So the product rule is differentiate the first, leave the second alone. So when you differentiate x, it would be 1, leave the second alone, that would be natural log of y, and then plus, and then leave the first alone and differentiate the second. Leave the first alone, differentiate the second, it would be 1 over y, but because y is a function of x, you've got to stick dy by dx in here, and then equals this. So now over here you've got a variable and a variable. So you've got to use the product rule. So differentiate the first, leave the second alone. So when you differentiate y, it's just 1, but then y is a function of x, you've got to stick dy by dx in there. And then leave this second alone, leave this one alone, and then plus, and then leave the first alone, differentiate the second. Leave the first alone, and then differentiate the second. That will be 1 over x. So now you've got 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to get dy by dx on its own. So these two blocks contain dy by dx. So group them together, and all the rubbish you would throw on the other side. So I'm going to take away this block, and then later on I'm going to take away this block. So it will give me this. Well, my first step is I'm going to take away this block. So I'm going to take this down. I'm going to do 2 moves in one go. So it will be this. Dy by dx, so that's this block here. Take away this, take away dy by dx natural log of x equals this thing here, y over x, take away, so I've done 2 moves in one go. So from here that will then give us this. So now you want to get dy by dx on its own. So this block here contains dy by dx, this block here contains dy by dx. So factorize dy by dx. So that will then give us this: x over y minus natural log of x equals y over x, take away natural log of y. So now to get dy by dx, divide both sides by this thing here, because at the moment you've got this thing multiplying with this thing. So in your mind, divide both sides by this thing. So dy by dx, that will then give you this thing here, y over x minus natural log of y divided by x over y minus natural log of x. So dy by dx equals this thing here. And you can, if you want to, tidy this whole thing up. So if you want to, imagine this as a fraction and then merge these two together. Imagine this as a fraction, merge these two fractions together, and then somehow tidy up. You can tidy up, but let's just leave it as it is. Okay, so the next one. So for this one, differentiate this now. So imagine that this is a bubble, and this here is a bubble. So when you differentiate it, it will be, when you differentiate this, it will be 1 over the bubble, 1 over the bubble, and then times the derivative of the bubble itself. But when you look at the bubble, this is a variable and this is a variable. So you've got to use the product rule within that bubble. So it would be this: differentiate the first, leave the second alone, that would be y, plus leave the first alone, differentiate the second. Leave the first alone, differentiate y would be dy by dx. So that's done, and then equals, now when you differentiate this, imagine that this is a bubble. So it would be e to the power of the bubble, which is xy, and then times the derivative of the bubble itself. Well, this again, this is a variable, this is a variable, so you've got to use the product rule. So differentiate the first, which would be x, and then leave the second alone, and then plus, leave the first alone, and then differentiate the second, which will be dy by dx. So now you will have this. So your job is to get dy by dx on its own. Dy by dx, dy by dx. So so let's multiply this out. So this times this will then give us 1 over x, and then this times this will then give us 1 over y dy by dx, and then this times this will then give us y e xy plus x. This times this will then give us x dy by dx e to the power of e to the power of xy, and now you've got one block plus this block equals this block plus this block. Your job is to get dy by dx on its own. So group all the blocks that contain dy by dx on one side and all the other rubbish on the other side. So I'm going to throw this on this side. I'm going to move this to this side. So I'm going to take away this block from both sides, and then later on I'm going to take away this and move it to the other side. So I'm going to make two moves in one go. So that would be 1 over y, so this thing here, 1 over y dy by dx, take away this block here, e minus x dy by dx e xy equals this thing, y e xy, take away this thing here, 1 over x. So now all the dy by dx are on one side and all the rubbish are on the other side. So now just factorize dy by dx. So that will then give us this dy by dx, 1 over y, take away x e xy equals y e xy, take away 1 over x. So let's divide both sides by this thing here. So that will be y e xy minus 1 over x, all divided by 1 over y minus x e xy equals dy by dx. So this is our answer. Okay, and the last one, here you've got to use the product rule, because this thing here contains well, this thing here is a variable, this thing here is also a variable, so you've got to use the product rule. So let's differentiate this now. So differentiating this will be 1 over y, and then because y is a function of x, we've got to stick dy by dx in here, equals, now the product rule, differentiate the first, leave the second alone. So differentiate the first would be this, leave the second alone, that would be sine x, plus leave the first alone, differentiate the second. So leave the first alone, differentiate the second. Yeah, and now you've got 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3. Group all the dy by dx on one side and all the rubbish on the other side. I'm going to take away this block here from both sides. So that would be 1 over y dy by dx, take away ey dy by dx sine x equals ey cos x. So now factorize dy by dx. So that would be dy by dx bracket 1 over y, take away ey sine x equals ey cos x. Now to get dy by dx on its own, you would divide both sides by this thing here. So that would be ey cos x divided by 1 over y minus ey sine x. So this is our final answer. Okay.